I think I underestimated the sun today. It's actually really hot. I thought it would be kind of cold just compared to the rest of the other days. And as some of you suggested, I did phone the DJI support again to get a follow-up, and it was kind of interesting, which I'll get into a little later. That's some expensive stuff. One of the things I've been reading today is apparently there was a new GoPro out. I don't really have a need for another camera, but I'm just kind of interested in seeing how the technology innovates. It's supposed to have better stabilization, but I think it's digital. Before, if I bought the GoPro camera instead of this, I probably would have ended up with a Karma, possibly. It's kind of funny how they don't show videos of the newer product. But $100 more, is that worth it? If I was to ever get a new camera, I'd say something better with low light. That'd probably be the big selling point, for me anyways. I was still trying to research for smaller drones to potentially fly as the quote backup, and I read this one, UVify, is that how you pronounce it? Or UVify Draco drone is fast, furious, fun for wannabe racers. I was just thinking, how can you be a wannabe racer when you fly something like this? Doesn't this make you a racer? So what kind of caught my eye the most about reading this article isn't so much about the drone. I'm sure if someone looks at the specs, they might say like, wow, it's one of the fastest drones. I think it is one of the fastest anyways. But it says for this drone, it has a modular design. So you can snap in and out parts, I guess, to customize it as is or as you please. And that would make it a lot easier for a person like me, like in terms of building a custom drone. I thought I don't necessarily have the skill, but if this is just all plug and play, kind of putting together the computer, then that would actually help a lot. I don't know, does something like that sound like a good option potentially? It does seem almost like the same price as a Mavic almost in many ways if you want to buy the Pro one. But if it gives me the option to fly in places where I couldn't normally, like in tighter spaces to get like a different kind of effect, I don't know, something to think about. That's another reason why I still research things like those GoPros, even though I don't need a camera, like another one anyways, because if there's an option to put it on a drone and stuff, why not? It'll be really cool. That's kind of an interesting thought too in terms of contacting people like the multi-rotor heli to try to get clarification of what's wrong with the Mavic Pro gimbals to see if they have like a personal solution from it. I don't know, I would feel a little weird contacting a company that I haven't gotten any service from. For the other question before a few days ago about my personal dealings with DJI, like how the transaction took place, because there was a comment about the laws are different if I say bought something in the US and then brought it back, and that's different. Just in general with the way I handled it with the DJI, I heard the announcement like everybody else on YouTube. I pre-ordered it, they had a huge delay, and to my knowledge, they come straight from China, so it's imported here. That's basically the gist of it in terms of my transactions with them. Yeah, you know what say what that cop's doing standing there? It's like he's preparing to jump somebody or something. Alright, so for the DJI support, I did phone in to try to find out what was going on just to make sure everything is on track. So as you guys know, the last one was the supervisor said they'll review the data and yeah, for me to wait and see what happens. If you remember too, the person's theory on how it could have gotten damaged is by a hard landing or something like that, which again, to my understanding, I don't see how that's possible, but the data is supposed to show if there's quote user error. Because I would imagine if there's no quote user error, then they would in a sense cover it maybe, I don't know. When I first phoned in, everything seemed normal, like the transferring, one moment please, but then it started to ring and then you didn't hear any sound. I waited there for a minute like, okay, is anybody there? So I hung up and I had to phone again, and this time I actually got someone on the line. So when I started, I told the customer service agent I just want an update to see what's going on, and they basically checked it out and they said, oh, according to this, the gimbal, the IMU quote damaged, so they're just waiting for it to get repaired and I guess, you know, essentially pay money. He didn't seem to have any knowledge about the thing that the supervisor told me, saying they'll check the data and they'll let me know what's going on. And so with that, he was kind of confused, and I told them which supervisor basically told me that, and he was like, okay, just hold on. So then as I was waiting 2 minutes, I was like, okay, what's going on? He comes back and then he says, okay, I just messaged him and he will give you another email about all of the information, like what's going on and everything like that. And I was confused, I was like, what? Because as you guys may have remembered, he said case closed in terms of the complaint. Now, if I have any further questions, the customer service will take care of me. So now I read the guy, I said, do you want me to read the email? And he's like, yeah, okay, go ahead. So I read the whole thing, and then afterwards he seemed kind of flustered. He's like, okay. And he said to me, he never has access to this email, so he didn't know we had that kind of conversation. So as we sat there, he's like, okay, yeah, just wait for the email again. So I guess another piece of the puzzle of why the support is really bad and disorganized in many ways, I guess people don't write down like the notes when they communicate with each other. Like for here, I would assume like for most companies, if the supervisor replied to me through email, there should be some kind of database in terms of handling people's complaints to say, I've talked to him about this, here's the record. It doesn't seem like they actually did that. When this guy told me anyways, he said he doesn't have access to that. There we are again, waiting for the response. Oh man, this is so silly in many ways when I think about it. Oh, it's too bad too, because I was just now I bumped into a friend and he was saying he wished I went with him because they went to go see a waterfall, and I don't have my drone anyways, but it would have been nice to capture stuff like that. Actually, that made me think of the other comment on how potentially maybe the reason why they're so general all the time is that they don't want to take responsibility if there's actually something wrong with the craft, because that could mean potentially they have to recall the whole thing and they don't want to do that. That's why this story was fascinating to me. It said for this guy here, it says his Mavic Pro flipped. Like literally, it flipped, I guess, in a 360 while it's up in the air, and that freaked him out. Who would that freak out, right? And so he brought it up to DJI's attention, and the response to it was actually really interesting. So keep in mind, this guy has a video of it, of literally, I guess, the drone flipping upside down. You could say it was the gimbal that just did a 360, but by the looks of it, it seems like it's the craft. This was the response from DJI. We apologize for the inconvenience that you're experiencing with your DJI Mavic Pro. Upon reviewing the video that you have sent, we have noticed that you are trying to fly your unit in an urban area. We do advise to fly your aircraft with caution. And then it goes on to say, there are many signal interferences within your area, specifically the Wi-Fi connection. Some other signal interference that might affect the flight efficiency are radio transmission towers, power lines, base stations, electromagnetic interference devices, and large deposits of magnetic metal. I just think, what does that have to do with the aircraft flipping upside down? I don't think a signal interference would do that, correct? Anyone else, feel free to enlighten me about that, but that, again, this made me think how that's funny if that is true, where they just don't want to admit to any kind of problem or deficiency just because, people would have to recall them as a company. That would be really expensive. But when you're reading that as a regular person, don't you just sit there and say, okay, that is just ridiculous in terms of the explanation? In my personal opinion, I don't see how a company thinks that would be better overall to give general answers like that. If that is the case, they just don't want to have any kind of admittance to a widespread problem. I think it's better just to take it seriously and work with it. All right, let's try to find something fun to edit. Hopefully I will get the drone back soon once I get all the answers and stuff like that too. See you guys later.